Minute to Win It games are fun for all ages. Today I've got 14 Valentine's Day themed Minute to Win It games for you with timestamps in the description box below. Hey there, I'm Brittany Flammer with videos every week all about budgeting and money saving tips for you and your family. If that's something that interests you, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified of new videos. Minute to Win It games are great for all ages. They work for kids or for families or classroom parties. They're extremely versatile. If you saw my video with Christmas Minute to Win It ideas, you can alter them a little bit, tweak them, and use them for any holiday. But the ones I'm going to share with you today are specifically for Valentine's. There are several ways to play Minute to Win It games. The first way to do them is an individual versus the clock. So everybody will do every single game. This is great if you have a really small group of people. You can play head to head where you can divide up into two different teams, and for each game you can have one person from each team compete and keep track of the points so you know which team wins. Or you can play on teams. You're divided up into several teams and each team has one person play each game. This works great for a classroom setting. The first game is Heart Transplant, and to play this you will need plates, straws, and some Valentine's candy. You use the straw to move the candy from one plate to the next. The person with the most candy moved at the end of 60 seconds wins. If you want to make it more difficult, you can move the plates further away, and if someone drops the candy, they have to move it back to the starting plate. Now, beware when you're choosing your candy, it can't be too heavy. We tried some gumdrops and hot tamales and they were too heavy. We ended up just using some M&Ms and some Skittles. That might have been left over from our Christmas candy, but no one needs to know that. Second Valentine Minute to Win a game is my boy's favorite. It's Cupid's arrows. What you will need for this are Q-tips, straws, make sure they're big enough to fit the Q-tips inside of them, and you'll want a large plate or bowl. Put the Q-tips inside the straws and shoot them. The goal is to land them on the plate or in your bowl, and the person that lands the most wins. Now, when we did this, we just use pretty small plates. If I were to do it again, I would either use a really large plate or even better, a big bowl for each player, because for us, they hit the plates and bounced off. And if you had a really large bowl, they would actually stay in. Third game is a balloon game. You will need 2 or 3 balloons per person. We chose Valentine colors. People playing can only use one hand. They have to keep their balloons up in the air for as long as possible. The person that keeps their balloons off of the ground for the longest wins. If you want to make it easier for younger kids, you can let them use both hands. Or if you want to make it harder, you can add in 3 balloons to make it more difficult. And it is more difficult than it looks. Fourth Minute to Win It Valentine game is Heart a Stack. For this, you will need conversation hearts, and the traditional heart-shaped ones work best, not the sweetheart, round sweetheart ones. Using one hand, stack as many of the conversation hearts as you can. If they fall, you have to start over. The person with the most stacked hearts wins. If you want to make it easier for younger kids, you can let them use both hands. Traditional conversation hearts work better for this because they're not completely flat, so they're a little bit harder. Next game is Bottle Drop. For this, you will need a water bottle or drink bottle like a Gatorade bottle and some conversation hearts. People playing will stand up on a chair, or for us, we used our coffee table. Put the water bottle on the ground and they will try to drop the conversation hearts into the bottle. Person with the most after 60 seconds will win. If you want to make it harder, use a water bottle with a narrow opening. If you want to make it easier, this is what we did. We used a Gatorade bottle because it has a wider opening. Next game is Candy Face. For this, you will need conversation hearts or maybe a heart-shaped cookie instead. Put the candy on your forehead, and the goal is to try to move it from your forehead to your mouth without using your hands. The first person to get this done in 60 seconds is the winner. This one is a lot of fun and you feel like a complete idiot. It's harder than it looks. If I were to do it again, I would not use conversation hearts. I would use like a heart-shaped cookie or something a little bit bigger. I think it would be a little bit easier. Minute to Win It game number 7 is Candy Pickup. For this, you will need plates, Valentine's candy of any sort, and chopsticks. You want to move the candy from one plate to another using only the chopsticks. The person with the most candy moved wins. For some people, this is easy. For those of us that cannot use chopsticks, it is very, very hard. Next game is Tug at Your Heartstrings. For this, you will need conversation hearts in different colors. We used about 20, and string or some sort of ribbon. Using that string or the ribbon, you want to sort the conversation hearts by colors. The first person to have it done wins, or the person with the most sorted in 60 seconds wins. The next minute to win it game is bouncing hearts. For this, you will need a Valentine box, bouncy balls, or ping pong balls will work. We use a Valentine box I got from the dollar store. Really, any old cardboard box, as long as it has a hole in it, will work. The goal is to bounce as many balls into the box as possible. The person with the most balls inside the box at the end of 60 seconds wins. We use ping pong balls because that's what we had. You could do bouncy balls too. I think those would be a little bit harder, but you can do whatever you've got. For the game Let's Go Steady, you're going to need a craft stick and some conversation hearts. Put that craft stick or the popsicle stick in your mouth, and with one hand, stack the conversation hearts, as many as possible as you can without falling. Person at the end of 60 seconds with the most on it wins. I recommend using the traditional heart-shaped conversation hearts because they're not flat, so they're a little bit harder. If you want to make it easier, you can use the sweetheart conversation hearts. The next minute to win it game is Pour Your Heart Out. For this, you will need a cup and conversation hearts for each player. Now, you want to use conversation hearts that have a word on one side and are blank on the other side. You put the conversation hearts into the cup and roll them. The goal is to roll all words face up. If you do not roll them all face up, you put them back in the cup and roll again until you get all 5 face up. First person to get all 5 face up wins. If you want to do an easier version for younger kids, you put 10 conversation hearts into each cup, and as they roll, you set aside the ones that have words showing on them. So they keep rolling until they got all words showing. Game number 12 is Jump Your Heart Out. For this, you'll need a jump rope for each person. They simply jump rope, and the person that makes it to 60 seconds is the winner, or the person that makes it the longest is the winner. The next minute to win it game is Heart to Heart. For this, all you need is conversation hearts. You want to try to stack as many as possible, but you're not stacking them flat. You have to stack them end to end on top of each other. The person that makes the highest tower or stacks the most is the winner. Next game is Don't Break My Heart. It is a relay. You will need spoon and a heart-shaped toy or candy for each person. Set up some sort of course for them to race around and see who can keep the heart on their spoon. Now, we used heart marshmallows. I would use something heavier and harder if I were to do it again. Check out my other minute to win it games for different holidays right up there. And if you're interested in budgeting and money saving tips every week, make sure you're subscribed to my channel and hit the bell so you get notified. Thanks so much. See you in my next video.